Okay, so in this part of the tutorial we have finished making our app. So what we're going to do is just going to fine tune the design in iOS. So we're going to first run the app to test and see if it works properly, and if everything's working as it should. We're going to change a color scheme and the layout and stuff, just kind of basically fine tune the design to make it look nice, because it's important to have an app that looks nice as well as works well. Alright, so now we've completed the implementation of everything. It's time to run our app and see that it works fine. Now, just one final thing before we run it. I noticed this little error in the code, which is in the choose from calculation picker function. So I accidentally put the missing variable choice.selected variable. This should actually be calculation choice.selected variable. Because if it's missing variable choice.selected variable, we're calling it on whatever these are, whereas we want to call it on the calculation choice variable, okay? Or the calculation choice picker. Okay, so just make that change there. So it was just in this line, which is line 68, change the missing variable choice.selected variable to calculation choice.selected variable. Okay, otherwise we're going to save it and go ahead and run it. The way we do that is to right click on the iOS file, and I'm not quite sure why we're getting, oh no, we don't want to do that. This is weird, I'm not sure, it's being a little laggy. So we're going to go run with, and we're going to select the iPhone 5S. And I'm just going to go ahead and open my simulator here. So this is going to load our app onto our phone, and here it is loaded. Okay, so first we want to choose a missing variable. Let's say final velocity in this case. We can choose anything, and you see it changes up there. And we'll choose a calculation. Let's choose this one, and notice how the hints change. And there's the T, and there's the D. So there we go, it changes accordingly. So there's an initial velocity of, let's say, 50, acceleration of 5, and time can be over 6 seconds or something. So calculate, and our final result is 80 meters per second. And that sounds pretty right to me, because 50 plus 5 times 6 is indeed 80. So we know the app is working fine, and again, feel free to test this with any other values or any other kind of different equations if you'd like. But I'm going to consider it working for now, and I'm going to stop running it. I am going to then open the main.storyboard, and what we're going to do is we are going to change up the layout a little bit. So right now it looks pretty boring. So we're going to add some color, and we're going to change up the text and the fonts and everything. So I just have the iPhone 5S selected, zoom to fit, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background color. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to layout in properties, or to widget, in properties. I'm going to scroll down to background. Right now it's white. We're going to select other, and I think, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's see how that looks. Let's try that plum color again. It's hard to tell exactly what it looks like at first, because it kind of changes color when you have it selected. You know what? Yeah, let's stick with that. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to widget again, and this is just the text field selected here. I'm going to change the type to be this one here, the border style, because that way we can change the height of them. Otherwise a border style has a fixed height. And under background I'm going to select light text color. So I'm just changing this to be the color scheme that I chose when I designed the app, but feel free to change it to whatever color scheme you like. I'm just showing you some possibilities. And I'm going to go light text, and I'm going to go light text again. Now for the button, I'm going to go pretty much black. I'm just changing the colors and everything now because I want to see how that all looks. And I'm going to go lead, which is pretty much a black. And so that's pretty cool. I like that. And the next thing will be changing the text colors. And in fact, actually, first, before we do that, let's change the layout up a little bit. So if we go to layout, I want to fine tune everything. So I'm not going to use these. I'm going to go to layout and do it this way. For the width, I'm going to say 20. And in fact, Yeah, we'll do 10. And this one, the width can be 300. So this is 320 units wide. And the height I'm not too picky about. That's okay where it is. This one I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to give it, what are we at here? Let's say 50. We'll give it a height of 30. This one we're going to say 85. We'll give it a height of 80. This one will start at 10 again, and we'll go 300 wide. We'll start at 1. In fact, where does this end? So this is 85, so that should end at 175. And did we get rid of that text label? Did that just disappear on us? Oh, here it is. The choose a calculation. Not sure what's doing up there. So we're going to go 10 for the X again, 300. For the Y, we're going to select 180. And we're going to make this 20 units tall again. Same as, oh, this one was 30. I guess we should make that 30 then. Keep it all uniform. Okay, so now this is at 210. I think 215 is good. We're going to change this to 90 as well. Same as this one. This one was 80, so we should change that to 80. Not 8, we want 80. And then this one, we're going to change to 10. And you know what, that's a little far over. I'm going to change this to 20 and 280. 20, 280. That one I can't change. This text field will be what we change next. And I think it's just freezing on us there a little bit. There we go. So we're going to do 20 and 280. And for the height, this is 295 right now. So we can go 305 perhaps. Let's see how that looks. And that's pretty good. For height, we'll go 40. This one will go again 20 and 280. The height will go 350. Not 150, 350. And we'll do a height of 40 again. And for this one, we'll also go 20, 280. And we'll do 3. What did we have before 380? Let's see. No, it should be 390, I believe. Or 400. Oh, I see. It was 395. That's right. And the height again should be 40. And for the calculate, we're going to do a 10 and 300. Just make that a little bigger. In fact, you know what? This is taking up a little too much room. We're just going to decrease the size of these. Move this up a touch. And we're going to move this up a touch. And we're going to move all of these up. Just because the calculate button is kind of getting squished there. So change it back to 20 and 280. And we're just going to increase the size a little bit. And then the answer field can be 20, 280, and can fill the whole bottom. So we'll go, let's try 440. It's far too high. Let's try 470. Still too high, 480. There we go. And then the height, I'll just adjust manually. Okay, so there we go. Now we have it. These, you know what, I'm going to change the height off a little bit. Just to give a little more room. Because we don't actually need these to be so big. I'd rather have the answer field a little more visible. Okay, so the next step will be to change the fonts. So we're going to go to Widget. We're going to click Center. We're going to say this is one line. This is going to be white. So we'll go other, we'll select this mercury color, we'll go under the T, we'll select custom, we'll select Avenir, and instead of black we'll do heavy, and this can be size 20, and we'll just do the same with all of these. So this should actually be 280, not 300. And from here we're going to go back to widget, and we're just going to change the text again. So center, we're going to go T, we're going to go custom, Avenir, and I think we'll pick Avenir for all of these. No point in changing up the fonts to be different every time. We're going to pick that mercury color again. And for the fields, we can't change the hint color, but what we can do is we can change the font and the text color. So again, we'll go center. This one we'll do to be a black, and we'll just make it bigger and bolder. So if we go custom, and we'll select Avenir, and this won't be black, this will just be heavy again. I'm just going to change this up to 20. In fact, we could even go larger than that. Let's try and see what 25 looks like. 25 is doable, so we'll stick with that. It's an unfortunate thing that we can't change the hint color, so that's something you can do in iOS or in Android, but not iOS, unfortunately. So we'll go heavy, change this to 25, and we'll center it. And then this one we'll center again. This one we're just going to change to custom, Avenir, and we're going to go heavy and 25 again. Okay, so that's good. We're going to save it. We're going to change a button. Text, so the background's fine. We're just going to change the text again. And so we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to go Avenir, and we'll do black this time. We'll let it be heavy. Let's try it size 30. And that's pretty good. And what we'll do is we'll change it to be the same color as this background here. So what we'll do is we'll go text color. We don't want that log. We want the text color. And I believe we had this plum. You know what? I'm not entirely convinced. I'm just going to change it to white. So we got that mercury again. Okay, and then the final step will be changing the answer. And so we'll go custom again. And Avenir, and we'll go black. We'll leave it as black. We'll change this to, let's change this to size 40. Is that going to be too big? I hope not. Just want to increase the size a touch. And we're going to go 2 lines here, so make sure we select 2 lines because it might go onto 2 lines. And for the text color, we're just going to go other and mercury again. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this and run it and see what our changes look like. So our final app should look something like this. In fact, it should look exactly like that. So we'll go with the iPhone 5S again. And hopefully everything works properly. If it does, then we should have a fully finished app. Okay, so no, we don't want the Xamarin Android player. We want the iOS simulator. And here we go. So we choose a missing variable. We'll go initial velocity, let's say. We can choose any one of these calculations. We can fill in the numbers. So 54, 5, I don't know, 7, calculate, and it tells us the final velocity, or the initial velocity in this case. Okay, so we know everything's working. Everything is as it should be. So we know that we have an app that works. It looks as it should, and so everything is good. And yes, that pretty much concludes our tutorial. Now you've seen the app built through first in Android, then in iOS. I know I went through things a little quickly, so feel free to go back and check all that stuff out again. Watch the videos that you're unsure of. And yeah, so Otherwise, that's how to build a kinematics calculator in Xamarin Studio. We use just the 4 main equations that you can see on this site here. So these are 4 basic kinematic equations. Each one takes in 3 variables, has a 4th missing variable. There are 4 of them, and so yeah, we created this calculator that takes those equations, takes the right input based on a missing variable and a calculation, and once it takes in your input, performs the appropriate calculation and spits out the answer. So again, very useful for physics students or anyone taking any kind of kinematics course. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next tutorial. Okay, so this is the final part of our tutorial, and what we did is we basically just fine-tuned the design in iOS. So we changed the color scheme and the layout a bit to make our app look good, because we want it to look good as well as function well. So we gave it a different color background, changed the text up a little bit, and just fine-tuned that layout using the layout feature in the properties tab. Okay, so by now you should be able to fully build this app in iOS. So that means starting it from scratch by first planning the layout and then implementing the functionality and finally fine-tuning the layout and the design to make it look good. So we've done this both in Android and iOS following the same steps, and if you're going to do something similar, I recommend the same steps again. I think it's just easier to start off with a layout, get the basic functionality down, then fully implement the functionality and fine-tune the design in that order. So yeah, again, this was how to build a kinematics calculator in Xamarin Studio. We use C#, first Android, then iOS. Basically just took 4 equations, and based on which one we chose and which variable was missing, we could input the other variables and have a calculator that spits out the right value. So good for physics students. Feel free to take this idea and apply it to any kind of equations, and I think it's a really good idea to take this and see what else you can do with it. So otherwise, thank you very much for watching our tutorial. We will hopefully see you next time, and think about more ideas you can do with this, because you can get really creative with this kind of a calculator idea. Alright, thanks guys, see you next time.